At a luxurious nightclub, a masquerade party is in full swing. Among the crowd, we follow a man wearing a wolf mask. His movements are suspicious, and he slips away to a private room, guided by messages on his phone. Inside, he retrieves a pistol that has been hidden in a tissue box, then heads to the restroom to unwrap a small plastic note attached to the gun. The message reveals his target. His name is Tommy Ward, a feared professional hitman known across the mafia underworld. Tonight, he has one mission: to eliminate a cartel boss who is said to be attending this party. The note gives one simple clue. The target is wearing a horse mask. Blending back into the crowd, Tommy moves casually so no one suspects a thing. It does not take long for Tommy to spot a man in a horse mask who looks suspicious. He does not rush in. Instead, he watches carefully, making sure he has the right target. But when Tommy reaches for something in his pocket, the masked man panics and runs. Tommy immediately gives chase. The man ends up cornered in a narrow alley with every gate locked around him. Desperate, he insists that he is not the person Tommy is looking for. He admits that the cartel boss is his cousin and that the real boss is still inside the club, but because he is wearing a horse mask, Tommy refuses to believe him. Tommy fires a shot, but he misses. Age has not been kind to his eyesight, and his vision makes it difficult to aim even at someone standing still. The man tries to explain again that his mask is not a horse but a donkey. However, because Tommy is severely nearsighted, he stubbornly insists it is a horse and fires again. This time, the man dies. Tommy has made a fatal mistake. The man he killed really was the cartel boss's cousin, and the mask was indeed a donkey mask. Meanwhile, the real cartel boss, wearing the horse mask, is still inside enjoying the party with a woman. Realizing the disaster he has caused, Tommy rushes to meet his client and confess what happened. He explains that the alley was too dark and he could not see clearly, and that he accidentally killed someone connected to one of the cruelest cartel leaders around. The client tells Tommy to run while he still can. Moments later, a broadcast message confirms their worst fear. The cartel boss has placed a £1 million bounty on Tommy, dead or alive. With a price on his head and no one left to protect him, Tommy has only one option. He must disappear and fast. His new life is about to begin. This is London Calling. 1 year has passed since Tommy's deadly mistake. Now he is living in Los Angeles with a fresh haircut and a cleaner look. But instead of changing his ways, Tommy has fully embraced his life as a hitman. At this very moment, he is already on another mission from a new client. That client is Benson, a well-known weapons cartel boss in Los Angeles. Benson lays out the job. Tommy must eliminate one of Benson's own partners who has been stealing money from their operations. Pretending to be on a new business assignment from Benson, Tommy heads out with a traitorous partner to a fake meeting location that Benson has prepared. On the drive, the partner casually praises Tommy for still being alive and walking freely through the city, even though hundreds of hitmen are after him. Tommy simply replies that maybe he has just been lucky. What he does not realize, at least not yet, is that the man beside him is also secretly planning to kill Tommy for the massive bounty on his head. The tension finally explodes, and the two men turn on each other. They fight, the car flips, and the partner barely escapes. Tommy catches up and is ready to pull the trigger when the man begs for one last request: a phone call to his child. Tommy allows it, unaware that the call is a lie. Instead of calling his kid, the man contacts his cartel boss, Freddie, and reveals that Tommy is hiding in Los Angeles. Although he fails to give the exact location, Tommy shoots him before he can say more. But the damage is done. Freddie immediately heads to LA, hungry for revenge against the man who killed his cousin a year ago. For a moment, we leave Tommy's chaos and shift to Benson's son, a chubby boy named Julian. His hobbies are simple: video games, hiding in his room, and joining the school drama club. Benson hates it and believes acting will only make Julian weak. But Julian still sneaks out to attend rehearsals, pretending he is going to work on a school project. When he arrives, Julian changes into costume and joins his classmates. But life on stage is not what he hoped for. Instead of fun, he becomes a target. His castmates bully him, mock him, and even beat him, calling him useless and annoying. After another rough day, Julian comes home injured and humiliated. Instead of offering comfort, Benson explodes with anger when he sees Julian's drama costume fall out of his bag. Before the argument can escalate, Tommy arrives. He calmly reports that the mission is complete and tells Benson that he plans to quit and return to London. Tommy finally tells the truth. He admits that the real reason he moved to Los Angeles was because he murdered the cousin of his former boss. the ruthless Freddy. Now that Freddy has tracked him down, Tommy knows it is only a matter of time before the boss arrives in the city. With no place left to run, Tommy begs Benson to help him disappear by creating a fake passport, something untraceable that will allow him to escape safely. Although it pains him to lose Tommy, his most trusted hitman, Benson can see that Tommy's mind is made up. In return for this final favor, Benson gives him one last mission. He wants Tommy to eliminate a powerful business rival. And this time, Benson demands something unusual. He wants Tommy to take Julian along, hoping to turn his son into a real man, someone who is not soft or sheltered. At that moment, Julian is in his room watching adult films when Benson barges in and drags him out, forcing him to meet Tommy face to face. Seeing how lazy and undisciplined his son has become, Benson sticks to his decision. Julian will join the mission whether he likes it or not. The target is a legendary hitman named Alistair, a brutal killer who always works alone and never leaves his victims alive. Hearing the name shocks Tommy. He has a dark history with Alistair, one he would rather forget. Tommy immediately warns Benson not to involve Julian, saying the man is too dangerous, but Benson refuses. At home, Julian is useless anyway, so Tommy has no choice but to take him. Later that day, Benson orders Tommy and Julian to track down Alistair's brother to learn where their target is hiding. On the way, Tommy is already irritated. Julian slams the car trunk carelessly and even tosses out Tommy's bag of weapons just to make room for his own luggage. The boy continues to be a nuisance in the car, poking at the torn leather seats and peeling off the tape that covers them. When Tommy warns him to stop, Julian just changes the music instead, making the ride even worse. Before they reach their destination, Tommy pulls over in a secluded area. He decides to give Julian a basic shooting lesson. If the kid is going to be part of this world, he needs to learn at least the simplest skills, like loading and handling a gun. But with Tommy's worsening eyesight, he fails to hit even a single bottle. Embarrassed, he blames the bright sunlight. Then Julian takes a turn and surprisingly hits the target with ease. All those hours playing Fortnite with his friends have paid off. Tommy, on the other hand, almost dies when Julian forgets to lock the gun afterward. By nightfall, they arrive at the hotel where Alistair's brother is supposed to be staying. Tommy enters with confidence, unaware that Julian has accidentally swapped their bags. Without realizing he has the wrong equipment, Tommy begins interrogating a man he assumes is the target's brother. But when the stranger is held at gunpoint long enough, he finally cracks. He admits he is not the brother at all. He is only a low-level courier sent to pick up weapons and drugs. After writing the meeting location on a phone, the man stays silent. Tommy opens his bag, expecting weapons, but finds nothing but Julian's drama costumes. Infuriated, Tommy scolds the boy, and the two start arguing again. In the middle of the chaos, the courier suddenly attacks. Luckily, Tommy reacts fast and takes him down before the man can pull the trigger. After disposing of the body and leaving it buried by the roadside, Tommy and Julian return to the hotel. They clean themselves up, order food, and try to regain their energy. But Tommy has one more concern. Julian was completely helpless during the earlier fight. So before the night ends, Tommy drags him outside and begins teaching him a few basic self-defense techniques. One of them is a simple but dirty move, a two-finger strike straight to the eyes. Nope, too slow, bro. Not even close. Come on, man. No, you're just, oh my, I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, at Benson's home, trouble arrives without warning. Freddy has tracked Tommy to Los Angeles after receiving information from one of his business contacts. Benson tries to play dumb at first, pretending not to know anything. But once Freddy places a massive check on the table as a reward, Benson finally gives up Tommy's name and promises to help set a trap after Tommy finishes his mission. The next day, Tommy heads to the rendezvous point, pretending to be the man they killed earlier. He claims the courier is sick and cannot attend. And with that excuse, Tommy and Julian are escorted inside to meet Alistair's younger brother, Rory. Everything seems under control until one of the guards receives a call from Alistair. The courier's body has been found on the roadside. In an instant, the room erupts into chaos. Bullets fly in every direction and a brutal shootout breaks out. Rory manages to escape the warehouse by stealing one of the vehicles. Tommy and Julian chase him through the city until they find the abandoned car in front of a hotel. Inside, Rory is trying to convince his older brother Alistair to flee, warning him that someone is hunting him. But before the brothers can escape, Tommy and Julian appear in the back seat with guns pointed at their heads. Rory tries to bargain. He explains that Alistair is not the man he used to be. Weakened by age and illness, he offers Tommy a deal. If Tommy agrees to fake their deaths by sending Benson a staged photo, then Alistair will pay him double the original reward. Desperate for money so he can escape Los Angeles and return to London, Tommy agrees. He takes out a phone to snap the fake evidence. But since Tommy has never used a smartphone before, he accidentally records himself in selfie mode instead. Eventually, they manage to take the staged photo. But the moment Tommy lets his guard down, Rory betrays him. He grabs Julian as a hostage and prepares to kill them both. Tommy responds by seizing Alistair, causing another intense shootout in a dark and confined space. Julian is trapped in the middle of the crossfire. Helpless once again, Tommy struggles to land a single shot because of his terrible eyesight. Every bullet misses. Then, by pure luck, Julian spots a pair of eyeglasses dropped by one of the gunmen. He throws them to Tommy. Against all odds, the prescription is a perfect match. With his vision suddenly clear, Tommy becomes a completely different fighter and wipes out the enemy with ruthless precision. Alistair is killed when a van explodes during the firefight. Only Rory remains alive, severely wounded and unable to escape. Tommy decides not to finish him off. With injuries that severe, it is clear Rory will not survive much longer. Anyway, the next morning arrives. To celebrate the mission they survived the night before, Tommy takes Julian to a supermarket to pick up a few bottles of beer. Not only did they return alive, but Tommy has also turned Julian into a tougher, more ruthless version of himself. The two enjoy their small victory, laughing and having fun as if the danger is finally behind them. When they return home, Benson is overjoyed. He proudly looks at a photo of Julian posing with the bodies of his fallen business rivals. Still acting innocent, Julian offers to drive Tommy to the airport so he can leave the country. They get into the car and prepare to head out. But on the way back to pack their bags, Freddy and his men suddenly block the road. Tommy is beaten and knocked unconscious. When he wakes up, Tommy is tied to a chair. Freddy orders Julian to go home and stay out of their business. Julian freezes, torn between saving Tommy or avoiding the fight. In the end, fear wins. He walks away, hoping he can convince his father to cancel the deal instead. But something no one expects is already happening. Alistair, who everyone thought died in the explosion, appears in the parking lot and begins slaughtering Freddy's men one by one. Julian arrives just in time to witness the massacre. Terrified, he hides and waits. When Alistair heads upstairs, Julian grabs a gun from one of the bodies and decides to help Tommy after all. Upstairs, Freddy continues venting his rage on Tommy until Alistair storms in. The two men argue over who deserves to kill Tommy. Freddy wants revenge for his cousin, while Alistair wants payback for Rory, his younger brother. Their argument spirals into chaos, giving Tommy the chance to fight back. He breaks free, attacks them both, and dives out of the window. God said, "Let there be light." Tommy survives the fall, landing in a pile of garbage bins. Freddy is not as lucky. Tommy uses him as a shield on the way down, and the impact kills him instantly. Julian rushes back upstairs, but the room is already empty. Before he can react, Alistair emerges from the shadows and takes Julian hostage. Tommy, unaware of what just happened, heads toward the airport. He assumes Julian is already home, but then his phone rings. It is Alistair using Julian's phone. He gives Tommy a location and an ultimatum. If Tommy wants the boy to live, he must return to the scene of their last gunfight. Tommy arrives at the meeting place. There, he finds Julian held at gunpoint. Alistair lays out the rules. The game is simple. Tommy must shoot himself in the chest. If he dies, Julian goes free. If he refuses, Julian dies instead. In a shocking moment, Tommy pulls the trigger and shoots himself in the chest. Julian screams, believing it is over. But Alistair is not so easily fooled. He steps closer, smirking, and orders Tommy to get up. He knows Tommy is wearing a bulletproof vest. The act was nothing more than a trick. Not willing to be deceived again, Alistair forces Tommy to aim the gun under his own chin. Tommy slowly raises the weapon, but when he pulls the trigger, nothing happens. The gun is empty. Out of pure obsession, Alistair ejects a bullet from his own magazine and tosses it at Tommy, demanding he reload and finish the job. But the moment Alistair lets down his guard, Julian makes his move. He tackles Alistair from behind, giving Tommy the opening he needs. Tommy fires, but even after being shot, Alistair refuses to stay down. He rises again, relentless and furious, forcing both Tommy and Julian into a corner. With their ammo completely gone, there is nothing left to fight with. Tommy steps out from behind the car with his hands raised, ready to face death, but Julian refuses to run. Instead, he jumps into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and floors the pedal. The car slams into Alistair with full force, crushing him and ending the nightmare once and for all. When everything is finally over, Julian returns to school and rejoins the drama club. This time, he shows up wearing a stolen tactical outfit, proudly acting like a hero. The bully who tormented him from the beginning swings a toy sword at his head. But Julian remembers Tommy's lesson. With one fast eye jab, he drops the bully in front of everyone, claiming his first real victory. As for Tommy, he says his goodbyes to Julian and prepares to continue the flight he never got to take. Meanwhile, back at Benson's home, things take a darkly ironic turn. His wife has finally left him after getting tired of his constant complaints about her cooking. Benson heads to the kitchen to reheat his meal. But the moment he lights the stove, the gas ignites. The explosion rips through the house, killing him instantly. And with that, both the chaos and the bloodshed come to an end. So, the moral of the story is never trust a hitman with bad eyesight. Never bully a chubby drama kid. And always check the mask before you start shooting, because donkey and horse are not the same.